Here we are, last chapter, chapter 8, fine-tuning your forecast, starting on page 115 of the Kids' Book of Weather Forecasting. Fine-tuning your forecast. You're getting to be a pretty good forecaster. You know all about humidity, wind, barometric pressure, temperature, and clouds, and you've learned how to consider more and more weather variables when making your predictions. You even know the signs that a major storm is brewing and what to do in a weather emergency. There are a few more tools that forecasters use to piece together the forecast puzzle, so let's sharpen your forecasting skills even more. A roadmap for weather. Barometric highs and lows, temperature, precipitation, wind speed, and direction. Woo! Fortunately for meteorologists, thousands of these weather measurements are put together into one big picture of what the weather is doing, called a weather map. Local weather stations across United States report their conditions to the National Centers for Environmental Prediction, NCEP. This information is used to create national weather maps. From them, meteorologists can get a picture of weather patterns at a glance and use this information to create local weather maps for their areas and to make their forecasts. In Canada, weather information is collected and reported by the Meteorological Service of Canada. Here's what this weather map tells us. With all those high pressure systems, H, it's a pretty nice day in most of the United States. In the Midwest, however, low pressure, L, a cold front, and thicker clouds mean rainy, stormy weather there, but high pressure in southern Canada is clearing the skies behind the cold front. Weather words. The first places meteorologists look for action on the weather map are fronts. Warm and cold air don't like to mix. Where masses of cold, dry air run into warm, moist air, you can count on a struggle for control. Along this narrow meeting zone called a front, temperature, wind, and moisture change rapidly. Pushy air up front, please. Weather fronts are named for the type of air that is taking over or winning the struggle for control. A cold front forms when cold air wedges under warm air and pushes it up. The warm air cools quickly. You've seen what happens to the moisture in warm air when it cools. Clouds and short bursts of heavy precipitation form and thunderstorms are typical. That's a cold front. A warm front forms when the warm air pushes its way up and over the cold air. As it gently rises, it cools gradually. A warm front causes steadier, more widespread precipitation that lasts for several hours. The second one is a warm front. A stationary front is just what the name says. Stationary means stays in one place. Warm air still runs up and over the cold air like a warm front, but the warm and cold air are mostly traveling sideways along the front. Some stationary fronts are very quiet, while others cause rain to fall over the same area for extended periods of time. A situation forecasters watch carefully because too much rain can cause flooding. The bottom one is the stationary front. Forecasters getting it right rules. Your barometer will drop as a front approaches and rises as it moves by because warm air is rising, then cooling. A cold front causes briefer but harder precipitation. A warm front causes steadier, longer-lasting precipitation. Warm fronts mark the beginning of a storm. Storms generally travel from west to east, so winds before the storm are moving air along from a warmer, southerly direction. Cold fronts mark the end of a storm. As the storm passes, winds change to the north and west, bringing colder air along. Quick take forecast. A cold front has been spotted 300 miles to the west of you. Your barometer shows the air pressure is dropping quickly. Wind speed is 21 miles per hour, blowing south to southeast. You are hosting a family reunion barbecue in 3 days. Should you reserve a big tent to cover the picnic tables? Answer. It's a tough call. Rain is likely with the pressure dropping, brisk winds blowing south to southeast, and a cold front already spotted to the west. But cold fronts move through quickly and wind speed is already 21 miles per hour, meaning the storm could pass through before your party and conditions could clear up in plenty of time. Better safe than sorry, though. Rent the tent and hope that the wind doesn't blow it away. Be a meteorologist. Reading a weather map. There are simplified versions of weather maps that appear on TV during the forecast on the evening news, on the weather channels, and in the newspaper. Check one out. You'll be amazed at all the weather information you already know. How to interpret once you understand the symbols. Listen to the next day forecast and make notes in your weather log. Then draw a weather map to illustrate tomorrow's weather. You have high pressure, low pressure, R is thunderstorm, warm front, cold front, rain, heavy rain, snow, and fog. Quick take forecast. Number 1. You see a red line with 2 little dots over your area on today's newspaper weather map. It's already been raining for days. The straw on your barometer is pointing up, but your friends are looking out at the steady rain, asking you when it's going to stop. What do you tell them? Answer. Let them know you'll all be able to play outside later in the day. When weather fronts are moving away, the air pressure rises. The rain should stop soon. Number 2. A rainy day ends in the afternoon as the temperature and the barometer rise. Is it safe to sleep out under the stars tonight? Answer. Better set up a tent. The pressure rising and the warmer air indicates a warm front. Remember that cold fronts often follow warm fronts, so a cold front is likely to arrive tonight or tomorrow. There's a good chance that you'll get wet as the cold front gets closer. Weather always on the move. In North America, most weather is steered by the jet stream, see page 55, so it generally moves from west to east. This goes for fronts, pressure systems, and storms. Forecasters track these movements and the speed at which they are moving to predict the arrival of changing weather conditions. Forecasters getting it right rules. A front, low, or storm to the northwest, west, or southwest may be heading toward you. A front, low, or storm to the southeast, east, or northeast is likely to be moving away from you. Here's the exception. In the United States, on the Gulf Coast in Florida and along the southeastern coast to Virginia, hurricanes, see page 110, come from the east, the southeast, and the south. Forecasters getting it right rules. Storms often follow similar paths called storm tracks. Fair weather systems also tend to follow similar paths. Storms get stronger wherever they pick up moisture on the west coast of North America, in the Mississippi Valley, north to the southern prairies of Canada, and east to the Great Lakes and along the east coast. Storms lose their strength when they cross the coastal mountain ranges along the west coast and as they head into the Rocky Mountains. Most storms travel at a constant speed. Boy, am I tired. Quick take forecasts. The skies are sunny and edged with cirrus clouds outside your home in Tennessee. The wind is light and the barometer is not changing, but you've been watching a storm coming from the west coast that brought rain to San Francisco yesterday. Today it has moved very quickly to western Oklahoma. Will this storm affect your family's plans to go for a hike tomorrow? Answer. Very likely yes. Even though the barometer is not changing, the cirrus clouds are the very first signs of a storm. Using a ruler or your finger, you can measure how far the storm has moved in the past 24 hours. Remember, storms typically move at a constant speed, so by tomorrow that storm should be in Tennessee. El Niño and La Niña. El Niño is the name of a weather pattern that can really keep forecasters on their toes. Every 3 to 7 years, easterly winds along the west coast of South America become very light, so a current of warm tropical water moves further east and south than usual. Water temperatures rise by a few degrees. Because this condition usually occurs around Christmas, the local residents began calling it El Niño, the boy child, in Spanish, referring to the Christ child. You wouldn't think that a slight warming of the ocean would be a big deal, but the results of El Niño can be catastrophic. Fish can't survive in the warmer water, which drastically which dramatically affects the region's fishing industry. El Niño can also cause unusually rainy summers in many parts of the United States. The Pacific Northwest will be warmer and drier during the winter, while the southeastern United States will be colder and stormier. In years when these easterly winds are stronger than usual, a colder ocean current moves farther west than usual, creating a La Niña, the girl child, weather pattern. Colder ocean temperatures during a La Niña year can cause winters to be warmer than normal in the southeastern United States and cooler than normal in the northwestern United States. Here's the pictures. Weather records. In 1998, La Niña helped bring Mount Baker in Washington state the world's record snowfall for one season. From July 1998 to June 1999, 95 feet of snow fell. That same year, however, Florida, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Texas experienced the driest period ever recorded in those states. We're going to move on to a second part.